If you haven't seen part 1 yet, click the Pokeball right here. Other than that, let's get started with part 2. Kicking off part 2 is one of the original starters and a fan favorite, Venusaur. I'm sure many people have nostalgic memories with this oldie, but let's go over him in detail. For design, we have a rather interesting looking frog-like Pokemon with a large flower on its back. Its design is something I've always liked, even before becoming an avid fan of the series. As for battling capabilities, Venusaur is pretty average. It can function as a special tank fine with its usual base 100 special attack and defense stats, but its typing is pretty poor offensively, and defensively it's weak to some pretty common types, namely Psychic and Flying. As for moves, it's kind of restricted to grass-type moves like Petal Dance, Solar Beam, and Sludge Bomb. However, it does have some pretty useful status moves like Poison and Sleep Powder, Sunny Day, and Light Screen. And Gen 5 got a serious buff with its hidden ability Chlorophyll, which doubles its speed in sunlight. However, Gen 6 gave it an even bigger buff with its new Mega Evolution. Mega Venusaur gains a serious boost to its defense, a good boost to its attack, and both special stats. But what really helps Mega Venusaur stand out is its ability, Thick Fat, which halves damage from fire and ice type attacks, effectively neutralizing those two weaknesses. This makes Mega Venusaur excel as a supportive wall that can dish out some good hits if need be. And on one of my playthroughs of X, I decided to raise the Bulbasaur you're given and use Mega Venusaur, and to say that Mega Venusaur was invaluable is an understatement. Having insane bulk and solid offenses, he can tank hits for days and hit back just as hard. So yeah, interesting design and solid at battle, Venusaur plants itself nicely at number 40.
There's only one Pokemon who's fit to be called King. But what about Kingdra?
There can be only one!
Nidoking is one of those OG Pokemons that has been around since Generation 1 and is also seen in the anime as one of Gary Asshole Oak's Pokemon. He is easy to train and is an all-around Pokemon regarding stats. However, there are two things that make Nidoking so damn powerful. Since Nidoking is the more offensive of the two Nidoran evolutions, it has access to loads of elemental attacks, like Thunderbolt, Blizzard, Sludge Bomb, etc., as well as some decent physical attacks, like EQ, Stone Edge and Mega Horn. Now this wouldn't be so threatening if it wasn't for the hidden ability Sheer Force, which is as powerful as it sounds. It basically trades the additional effects of certain attacks, like Paralysis or Defense Drop, for a 30% increase of power. Meaning that if you throw a Life Orb on this guy, he will start hitting like 3 trucks strapped onto a train with a rock on top of that. And the best part is, with his ability Sheer Force, he will not receive any damage from the Life Orb. Now that doesn't mean he's an unstoppable monster though. 2 hits from any kind of attack and this Pokemon's reign is over. In other words, putting Nidoking in your team is a high risk, high reward. Using him will give you a lot of elemental coverage and a decent offensive Pokemon, but get hit and you can kiss your ass goodbye. On the other hand, Step Sludge Bomb plus Sheer Force plus Life Orb is... hit it, freak!
Tons of damage.
Your argument is invalid.
Alright, time to take you down! What? That didn't work? Ugh! I've been Zoroarked! Yeah, that's my reaction whenever I go up against number 38 on this list, Zoroark. Design-wise, it looks awesome. Based off a Kitsune from Japanese mythology, it looks fierce and awesome at the same time. Also, being based off a Kitsune plays into its battling capabilities. Zoroark has a unique ability in the form of Illusion, which disguises itself as the Pokemon in the rear of the party. However, its only appearance. Its typing, stats, and moves all remain the same. You'd think Team Preview would theoretically kill this strategy, but no. You can play some interesting mind games with your opponent and keep them on edge because they don't know when and if Zoroark will show up. As for stats, it's your typical fast glass cannon sweeper with an impressive 105 speed and attack stat and 120 special attack stat. And its move pool has surprising diversity. You have the moves like you'd expect, like Dark Pulse and Shadow Ball, but also moves you wouldn't expect, like Flamethrower and Focus Blast. On top of that, it has a signature move in Night Daze, which is an effective Dark-type special attack with a 40% chance of cutting the target's accuracy. And let me tell you, when I used a Zoroark on a competitive team in 5th gen, it was so much fun. I would always disguise it as a flying type because it's unlikely the opponent will use a fighting or bug type move on a flying type. And once he was out, he lay in on the opponent with Night Daze and Flamethrower. It was so evil and yet so enjoyable. With an effective battling strategy and a solid design based off of mythological influence, Zoroark is easily one of the best Pokemon to come out of Gen 5 and definitely earned its spot on this list. From one Gen 5 Pokemon to another, up next is Samara. I don't think I need to explain why its design is sweet. I mean, he's a samurai sea lion and it's called the Formidable Pokemon. How is that not awesome? And in battle, it's surprisingly versatile. With well-rounded stats aside from its poor special defense and speed, as well as pure water typing, it can function very well as a physical tank. And looking at its move pool, it has a lot of options from Surf, Ice Beam, Sword Stance, and Mega Horn, to more surprising options like Revenge, X-Scissor, and surprisingly Dragon Tail. Its diverse move pool gives it plenty of options from a Sword Stance set to a mixed sweeper, and while it'll serve you alright in a competitive battle, it'll really show its worth in a story playthrough. I've raised Samara the most out of the Unova stars, and not once did it ever let me down. With its solid offenses and great move pool, it always had a move to fit the scenario. With its solid design and myriad of options, this is easily one of my favorite stars, and very easily earns its spot on this list.
While Gen 6 didn't have the largest Pokemon roster, what we got had a lot of great things to offer, like a Flying Luchador, the Cthulhu, Jack Black's son, and...
I'm a T-Rex! Most vicious beast to ever walk the planet! I'm a T-Rex! Tyrannosaurus, not some new in the zoo!
that. So let's talk about that one. You know, with all the fossil Pokemon there were in Gens 1 through 5, I'm surprised it took until Gen 6 to make a T-Rex Pokemon. But you know what? It was worth the wait. In the case of Tyrantrum, what you see is what you get. An incredibly badass wrecking machine. While it unfortunately has lackluster special defense, okay speed, and worst of all, 6 weaknesses, the very wrecking you can do with Tyrantrum can get you past all that. Not only does it have awesome attack and defense stats, not only can it learn powerful moves like Dragon Claw, Crunch, Thrash, Head Smash, Earthquake, and for some reason Horn Drill by level up, but through TMs and breeding, it can get moves like Aerial Ace, Brick Break, the Elemental Fangs, Super Power, Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, as well as great status moves like Rock Polish and Dragon Dance. So with a lot of moves and good abilities, you've got a lot to work with in terms of how you like your destruction. Speaking of that, I should mention something. I think that Tyrantrum is one of the best users of Dragon Dance. Sure, it can hit like a truck and have alright speed on its own, but if you have 1 or 2 Dragon Dances up, you're in good condition to take care of almost anything. There may be a lot of other cool Pokemon from Gen 6, but Tyrantrum has always stuck out to me the most. Okay, screw it, I can't resist anymore.
I ain't made of latex or extinct like Aztecs. When they made us all female, I changed my sex. Gobbling up rednecks like they were Tex-Mex. Time for your butt to start cashing those checks from a motherfucking T-Rex!
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
Wonder how many people started off with that joke, eh? You know this guy don't need no build-up. Yeah, Jolteon, what you gotta say? What you gotta say? This yellow blur gotta go fast. Okay, fine, I'll calm down. Electric types are one of my favorite types. Most of these Pokemon usually depend on lots of speed and a decent special attack. Jolteon is just that, but amplified. Just look at that speed stat. I kid you not. As of Gen 6, Jolteon is the 6th fastest Pokemon ever. Just think about that. There's like, what, 720 Pokemon? And he is ranked 6 in terms of speed. He ain't no Sonic, but goddamn, he's fast. In a world where speed is only a factor in terms of who gets to go first in battle, it seems pointless. But Jolteon strives on being so fast. With a not too shabby special attack stat, Jolteon can pack a punch at blitzing speed. That's a dangerous combo if used carefully. I cannot tell you how many times my team was nearly got swept by one Pokemon, only to be saved by my Lord and Savior, Jolteon. Yeah, I don't need you, Almost Star. Never even got to watch Twitch plays Pokemon. But that's not important. What is important is how badass the Pokemon is. He does have quite a bit of drawbacks, which leads him to be less desirable. His move pool, for one thing. You know the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? The same applies here, folks. The guy barely has any variety, maybe a few ground type moves. He also got Deal Belt for some reason. Jolteon, the ultimate support Pokemon. But seriously, attacking is pretty much all you're gonna do with this guy, but has little variety to his attacks, which hurts him quite a bit. But really, I don't think you really need it. You're gonna be hitting hard at the sound of speed. But you're gonna be hitting hard at the speed of sound, so why care about typing? May not be the best at what he does, but he's definitely has the most style with it. By far my favorite evolution, and he looks cool. Bonus points. Also, I named mine Lacquer because... Why not? It's just a fact of life.
I don't know why, but when I first saw Clancer, I had a lot of interest in it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's its rather unique design, which, believe it or not, is actually based off a real type of shrimp known as the pistol shrimp, which, as the name implies, can shoot pressurized water out of its claw to kill its prey. It's actually pretty cool that they use an animal not so many people know about as inspiration for a Pokemon, and they really went all out with it. Heck, its classification is the Howitzer Pokemon! And for those of you who don't know, a Howitzer is a giant cannon. And that weapon ain't just for show, oh no. It has a fantastic 120 special attack stat and some decent defenses to back it up. Its movable doesn't have too much diversity, but honestly, you don't need it. It's one of only 3 Pokemon to have the Mega Launcher ability, which buffs the power of Water Pulse, Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, and Dark Pulse. And guess what? It gets Water Pulse naturally, and the other 3 can be taught via Heart Skill. You can also substitute Water Pulse for another Water type move like Scald to net burns, or Hydro Pump to really lay on the hurt. But personally, when I used a Clancer on my first playthrough of X, I just taught Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, Dark Pulse, and Surf, and it completely wrecked house. Heck, it's basically a Pokemon equivalent of a sniper. It hits you with powerful shots that are almost guaranteed to one-shot. There are only a handful of Pokemon that can stop a combination of those moves. And that's what makes Clancer awesome, and what earns it this spot. He'll shoot down your opponents before they know what hit them.
Be polite. Be efficient. Have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Oh my god, it's a Heartless! Where's my Keyblade? No wait, my mistake, it's just Chandelure. Yeah, its design kinda does look like a Heartless to me. I mean, with the abstract appearance and the purple flames. But it's a Pokemon, and I think the design looks great. Moving on to performance in battle, all I need to do is show you its stats. Anything stand out? Well, how about the Gargantuan Special Attack stat? Yeah, its special attack is one of the highest in the series. In fact, it's the second highest of any non-Mega and non-Legendary. With that kind of power, it's no surprise it's used as a special sweeper predominantly, and it certainly helps that it has moves to take advantage of this trait, such as Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, and even Energy Ball to offset its weaknesses to Water, Rock, and Ground types. On the downside, its speed is only average and it's frail, meaning the user needs to be just as careful as their opponent, otherwise they'll need to ring up Home Depot for a replacement. But you know what? A few months ago, this wasn't even a candidate for this list. But then as I played through White again, and due to my roommate's recommendation and extreme bias, I decided to try my hand at using Chandelure. And while Litwick was so weak when I first got it, the reward was well worth it when I finally got Chandelure. Dealing powerful attacks that 1 or 2 shot any opponent felt awesome, and it was certainly a vital asset to my team. And it's thanks to that I claims a spot this high. But I still wish we can get a Heartless that looks like this. Come on, Square Enix, give it to us! With any type, there are always a select few Pokemon that deviate from the norm, for better or worse. For instance, when people think of Psychic types, they usually think of fast special sweepers. Yeah, Reuniqueless isn't exactly like that. Instead of being speed-oriented, it's meant to be more of a tank. With a great HP stat and equally good special attack, it can perform this job well. It certainly helps that its move pool has diversity. Sure, it has Psychic and Shadow Ball like any newbie would expect, but look deeper and you'll discover moves like Thunder, Energy Ball, Focus Blast, and even Rain Dance. You can easily run Reuniqueless as a powerful attacker by using Calm Mind, but it also has access to Trick Room, which allows it to distort reality and basically become Sonic and outspeed everything. Given that its base speed is at an abysmal 30, not much can hope to outspeed a Reuniqueless in Trick Room with the right build. And I haven't brought up its creative design yet. Reuniqueless, like its pre-evolutions, is based off a cell. This can easily be seen by the fact that the substance that makes up its body resembling cytoplasm and the parts of its body within it resembling organelles. I find that really smart and unique. Yep, I'd say that sells Reuniqueless pretty nicely. When fairy types were first revealed, I was insanely skeptical. Not because all we knew were that they'd be a weakness to dragons, I was concerned how the type chart would accommodate them. Thankfully, that worry was completely unjustified because this type really impressed me. It managed to be a pretty balanced type that resists dark and fighting types and also gave poison and steel types an actual viability. And the next entry is the first fairy I raised, Flora Jess. Its design is rather straightforward, being a beautiful flower fairy, and I'd say that it works well. As for its uses in battle, it's one of the best special tanks you can ask for, with high special attack and special defense, as well as being one of the few pure fairy types. This can be a troublesome Pokemon to take out. And while you can easily use Calm Mind and turn it into a sweeper with moves like Moonblast and Psychic, its true nature comes from being an excellent support Pokemon. With reliable recovery and synthesis, as well as having aromatherapy and wish in its moveset, it can function as an exceptional team clearer, removing status ailments and healing allies. But while I didn't bother with that tactic on my first playthrough of X, it served me well otherwise. Its Moonblast hit really hard, and while its move pool lacked diversity for me, it served me well enough. Yeah, I say Flora just came out smelling like a rose.